Welcome to the chapter 14 of the discussion today, which is on teams and team building. In this particular chapter, we are going to cover the details of what is team, the why have teams become so popular, and differences between work group and teams, types of teams, what are the team buildings and its different related issues of team building, teamwork, team effectiveness, and relationship between team working and innovation in the organization. So, first we will start with what is the description of teams. And if you see the definition, it is like a formal group comprising people interacting very closely together with a shared commitment to accomplish agreed upon objectives. So, if this whole definition is looked into like different, if you look into the different parts of this definition, so the highlighting points in this definition is like interacting very closely together with a shared commitment to accomplish agreed upon objectives. So, this is where maybe teams differ from when you are talking of work groups. Like in groups, what happens, the members are connected to a central objective in mind, and they come with that purpose, and there is less of interaction and bonding between the members of a particular group. But when we talk of a team, then what happens, that there is more of interrelationship between the members of, like when a group emerges as a team, what happens, there is a close bonding between the members, and they share their levels of interest with each other, and their skills, knowledges and etc. That is the competency also, there is a complementary competency. So, what happens as a closed bonded members, emotional bonding, then the skill wise, competency wise, interchangeable skills, all these things, they with that bonding they share a commitment towards the goal and they meet towards like agreed upon an objective. But this interrelationship between the members is an important factor which helps the work group to emerge to a team. So, now we will try to look into the difference between what is a work group and what is a team. And the importance of team, as we see it's listed, it's like it's much better than one individual performing, and it because they are interrelationship amongst the and members, and they know each other's skills, they can utilize this talent in a much better way. So, and because there is emotional bonding and with each other and also with the objective in mind, there is a greater involvement of the employees as concerned who form the part of a team. And it lead, because there is so much of understanding, trust, all these factors develop while we are working in a team. Shared sense of like responsibility. So, it improves the quality of the things that are produced as a part of like what the team does, and it leads to quality improvement. And so, this again is a part of like team is a very important part of a flattened organization, and it leads to like increase in the motivation of the people. So, these are some of the importance of why like team has become so popular. We will now look into the work group comparison with the work group and work team. So, what we find, like when you are talking of work group, it is more of sharing of information, but when you are talking of work team, it is like a collective performance because there is a bonding between the members. So, when you are talking of synergy, so in work team it is very positive as compared to the groups, because in groups still individual entity is there, and sometimes people perform for their own benefits and to get their own gains. So that is where synergy is positive for when you're talking of work teams. When you're talking of accountability in terms of work group, it is individual accountability, but when you're talking of work team, it is individual as well as mutual accountability. So as I've already discussed, in work team the skills are complementary, and in groups it's random and varied in nature. We'll now come to the discussion of like what are the different types of teams as we see either in organization or around us. So first is of course like problem solving team that we find in organizations, which is mostly formed to because there are complementary skills and competencies and people come out with their different ideas. So first type of team is called the problem solving team. Next we have cross functional teams, which we talk of teams from consisting of members from different functional departments. As a result, what happens due to this complementary skills, experiences, competencies that people bring in from diverse areas in the company, we can see the same problem in different ways, and we can give our own explanation for solving it in the ways, and a new way of emerging at a particular decision arrives. So this cross, and there is there is a high trust level, and understanding and better performance develops when you're talking of cross functional teams. Virtual teams, like these are teams formed like with the help of technology. What happens, people are maybe not meeting face to face, but like they can, with the help of technology, even if they are not meeting face to face, they are working at different sites and they can form a team together and they can carry on their work. So because these people are not meeting together, what's required most in this case is of course coaching and then trust between the members, and sometimes getting the feedback properly to see like whether that main thing, which is the bonding, has developed between the members or not. So what we can check for, like when a team meets face to face, we cannot do that for a virtual team. So it's always very much required that we take a feedback about this from the virtual team members. Research and development team are those teams which are used to develop new products in the organization, and innovation is what is required. And so these are like what you call skunk works in R&D teams. So what happens, they are set up to expedite innovation and like create a new products for the organization. Self-managed teams are teams which are empowered to perform their certain activities based on their. Next is the self-managed teams, which are small groups of individuals formed who are empowered to perform certain activities based on established procedures. And what is the uniqueness of this team is that it is formed with the decisions taken are made within the team with less or little or no intervention from outside. So before going for the self-managed teams, it's very much required for the organization to check that the members understand the values of the organization properly, the goals of the organization properly, and they are consistent with the business requirements, and they have competencies for deciding things on their own on behalf of the organization. So next is diverse teams. In diverse teams, what happens, as people are, this consists of people coming from different backgrounds and different knowledge base, and what they bring in their own things, their own talents into that group. And though there may be some short term conflicts, this team takes time to stabilize, but it leads to better performance in the long run, and it has a great performance potential. We will next move on to what is team building. So, team building is actually, it's a sequence of planned activities, so which is designed to gather data and analyze data on the functioning of a group and to initiate some changes designed to improve teamwork and increase the group effectiveness. So, it can take place in various ways by various activities, like either outdoor activities or indoor activities, or some exercises that are given to make people realize like what is the like how the bonding develops and what is the importance of other members in their life, and how to cooperate with each other so that we can reach a common objective in a much better way. So, there are different ways of team building, and it works through 5 different steps, like problem or opportunity in team effectiveness, data gathering and analysis, planning for team improvements, action to improve team functioning, and evaluation of the results. So, these are 5 different steps through which we move through, like while we are going for team building exercises. The different team building exercises that are there, the first is the formal retreat approach, which takes, go for some off-site retreat, which takes place, team building takes place while we are in an off-site retreat. Continuous improvement approach, so where it's maybe on-site and where the team manager, team leader or members, they take continuous responsibility for ongoing team building. Outdoor experience approach, so this is where maybe you go for some rock climbing or these type of things, where members engage in physically challenging situations, and a lot of teamwork is required if we want to reach the objective or get the final reward for it. So, these are mainly the approaches. So, if we are to go for building very high performance teams, then we have to think of certain very important steps. First is, of course, create a sense of urgency and direction in the people. So, if they do not have a goal set, if they are not motivated to reach a particular goal, if a sense of urgency is not developed, and if the difficulty of the goal and how it can be reached by cooperating with other members, these things are not visible in front of an individual. So, they will not be ready to form a team. So, the first point is creating a sense of urgency in the people and giving them a direction for team building. Next is to reach that objective. So, very important point, next point is selection of the people who will be the team members, and it is based on the skills, track record and potential. So, and after that the meeting is done and the problem, the common objective has to be explained to the people in a very good manner, and we have to ensure like this meeting goes very well. So, next important is of course like fixing up the ground rules or norms of the team, and which will govern the behavior of the individuals. So, and a focus should be on like critical and urgent matters, and clear objectives should be set for the members. Next is what a lot of time should be given for interaction between the members, because the more they interact with each other, they get to know their complementary skill sets, like interests, and how they can help each other in reaching a common objective. So, last important of it is of course giving a regular feedback regarding their performance, and regular information to the members, and ensuring like the members receive a proper recognition and reward for their work. So, how do we come to know like whether it's a good team or not, is defined by some of the important characteristics of effective teams, like clear unity of purpose is there, then clear performance goals, then like among all things like informal and comfortable relaxed atmosphere, then positive criticism and positive perception of each other, higher motivation, better productivity, then common commitment to goals. All these things, some of these things are very, very important points to know like whether this is an effective team or not. So, what are we will now discuss some of the common mistakes that is done, and so common mistakes in building effective teams are like when we come to allocation of the task, we treat the unit as a team, but when it comes to allocation of the task, employee selection or giving of rewards, so the set of we are dealing them on an individual basis. So, what happens over here is maybe that individuality is still there, and we are focusing more towards individual gains, and the team's objectives become less over here. So, another is like there is a failure to strike a balance between, like when you are talking of democracy, and when we are talking of like maybe a exercise of authority. So, too much lenient group could, if the people are not competent enough to take a proper decision, may lead to like decreased performance rather than expecting a better performance from them. So, and another thing is for like we may speak of team, but organizational structure is not facilitating the functioning of the team. So, the organizational structure should be such like it helps the team to it helps to nurture the team within the structure. So, these three things like the reward system, then how much democracy to give and how much control to maintain it on it, and what is the organizational structure, these things mainly define whether like we can build effective teams or not. So, another important things are that when teams are formed, they are left unsupported. So, but the case should not be like that. They should be given enough training, enough material, and group based reward, organizational information, so that they can function as a team. And and we always assume sometimes that people are eager to work in teams, and they are equipped to do so, and they do not require any material or training, previous training for it. These are sometimes overestimation about the people's nature, and that may lead to mistakes in team building. So, how an effective team can be created? So, Belbin, he gives some of the functions and roles of how to compose a how to go for a team which becomes effective. First is the leadership function. So, leader has two like important functions. Like as a leader, that person is responsible for the overall performance of the team, and as a shaper, the leader directs the team's effort, imposes shape to the team activity. So, that much of even that level of direction should be there, so that the team knows what is required of us and how to go about it. In work production function, the worker devises practical working procedures and carries them out. The creator invents new things and strategies, ideas, and addresses problems in a creative way, and the completer or the finisher gets things done quickly, works on urgent issues. So, what is visible from here is different functions are dedicated to like different roles that the people play within that team. Third is of course the team maintenance function, where the team facilitator fosters a sense of team spirit, helps with the communication. The monitor evaluator analyzes the problems, helps the team to stay focused on the task, and liaison function is resource investigator, is what deals with the external contacts. So, these 4 areas we find there are 4 functions which can be distributed amongst the members, the team members, based on their competencies and who can perform these roles best. And it is not that for all the tasks or whatever the team performs, the same person is going to do the same activities again and again. It could be, it maybe not also, in the sense like when we go for a next activity, again on the basis of the competencies and requirements and who has better contacts, who can deal with that problem in a much better way, these roles can be interchanged among the members also. Next we move on to the team roles that Belbin has suggested, like some like that of a plant, which is creative, imaginative, unorthodox, and solve difficult problems, or coordinator like mature, confident, monitor and implementer, one who is disciplined, reliable and turns ideas into practical actions, completer, finisher. So, you find like each of these different roles has different responsibilities attached to it. If you can just see from here, resource investigator, shaper, worker, specialist, and people based on their competencies are selected to play either one or a combination of these roles, keeping the objective of the organization or the team in mind, like what it is supposed to achieve. So, this is another set of roles played by team members given by Marjorison and McCann in 1990. So, you see like creator, innovator, explorer, promoter, controller, inspector, assessor, developer, reporter, advisor, linker. So, these are maybe different names varying, but mostly you can find you can divide the roles into 2-3 major groups of, like one is that of a leader, one is that of a maintenance function, another is that of a task function, and that of a liaison type of role. So, accordingly the names may vary according to the proponents of who have proposed like what are the roles played, but these are the different functions where you can find this, like what are the roles played by different team members are there. So, next important point of discussion is of course like how do we create effective teams. I mean, what are the team processes, and of course the first important thing is the socialization process, which is a process of mutual adjustment between the members. So, and how it takes place is based on evaluation, it is based on your commitment and transition from one role to another. So, it takes different 5 different phases, it moves from 5 different phases like the team and the individuals find a good match, then the individuals and the team assimilate to each other, which is in the socialization, then it's a like win-win situation in maintenance. Both the parties like try to maximize their needs, and re-socialization where the individuals again try to match their needs with the team needs and try to influence each other to satisfy the team needs. And remembrance means if somebody has to leave, which is the adjourning stage, so which occurs if some members is parting, and it takes place only after if re-socialization is not successful. So these are the 5 major steps while we are talking of the socialization process. So interpersonal processes are of course like you find like the communication is a very important, has a very important part as a part of the in the team building, and it should be a frank communication, continuous communication and regular communication. So next is conflict is unavoidable in team situations, but we should look into the fact like it is a functional conflict and not a dysfunctional conflict between the team members. So what happens like we have to make this conflict beneficial for the purpose of the team, and they should listen to each other, respect each other's viewpoints and try to learn from each other's viewpoints. Cohesion amongst the team members is when members feel attracted towards the purpose of the team and want to stay in it. Trust is where an environment is created when the workers spend less time worrying about others and are more like whether the other person is going to create some barrier in my path or not, and they are more willing to allow other team members to help them. So there is more of sharing about issues regarding the how to do a task and how to achieve a particular solution, and they are ready to help each other also when this trust is there. In shared mental models, what happens, the members have some or less similar ideas about cognitive processes, about acquiring, storing and using information. So what are the different knowledges over here is that of task specific knowledge. So which is a common knowledge common to all the members regarding how to perform a task and what are the strategies to perform a specific task. Then task related knowledge. So this is a generalized knowledge which can be like used to for other tasks also. Knowledge of teammates, like who is what and what skills they have, what are the competencies these people are sharing, their strengths and weaknesses, and which helps for the proper allocation of resources across the teammates, and proper attitudes and beliefs which helps to improve team cohesion, motivation and consensus among the group members. Next important factor for creating effective team is of course like a proper team climate. So that like which is more of a trust than encouraging climate, better cohesion, all these factors leads to effective building an effective team. So when we are talking of motivation, what needs to be discussed next is how to improve the team processes, and so what are the factors like which leads to better teamwork. And of course one of the major primary factor is challenges faced by the team members. We should be like put some challenge in face of the person and the team, so that they have to come out of the so come out of the traditional ways of looking at things, and they have to work together to arrive at a solution for the work in front of them. So, so this increased emphasis on teamwork requires ongoing team building, requires the team leaders and members to deal positively with group dynamics issues, conflict issues, and how to deal with properly with the challenges of shifting team members, and like how to make people learn the new ways of doing things. These are the challenges which should be taken care of, so that, and which if taken care of generally leads to improving the team processes. So, new member problem is one of the important areas of team building and team effectiveness. New members, when they come in a particular team, they come through very psychological factors plays in their mind, like maybe will I be accepted, what will be my role, and what will be the challenges that I have to face, whether my competencies are adequate or not, what are the reward systems, do I face any barriers or not. Numerous questions are there in the new member's mind, and with also like side by side how the existing team members are accepting that new member. So, here the leader has a very important role to play in seeing whether the new member, what are the issues concerned with the new member, how he is accepting the team, and how the existing team members are accepting the new member, and whether he or she is getting a proper place in the team or not. So, we will just visit some of the new members' problems in the team. So, as we see, we have already discussed, new members are concerned about issues of participation, goals, control, and relationship, and the behavioral processes of coping are sometimes like tough battler, in the sense like if that person is frustrated by the lack of identity, that person is visualizing that I am not getting a place in the existing team, what he or she may try to battle out and find out a place for himself or herself in the group. Then a friendly helper is sometimes what happens is this is due to insecurity. So, this person behaves in a very dependent way and seek alliances and gives extraordinary support for others, and due to this, that person, because of suffering from the uncertainties of intimacy and control, may play this role of friendly helper. And another is objective thinker. So, what that person does is anxious about how personal needs will be met. So, that person tries to be in a group, but still be passive, reflective, and single-minded manner. So, what he or she tries to do is to find out a fit between the individual and the group goals. But the others, what is the essence of team building is like connecting with the others, that factor doesn't develop like when we are talking of the objective thinker. So, what requires maybe most important for dealing with these types of problems, and also seeing that the team developed is an effective team, some task and maintenance leadership roles are required by the team. So, high performance teams requires a distributed leadership, means it's not only one person who becomes leader in every situation, but according to the need of the situation and the task at hand, different people becomes leader at different points of time. So, and there are different needs, which are the task needs and the maintenance needs and of the team, and these leaders have to meet, and their members share the responsibility. The team leader and the team members share the responsibility of meeting the task need and the maintenance need of the team. So, what are some of the task activities are of, if you see what's listed is, of course, very importantly is initiating discussion, then sharing of information, then asking information about others, clarifying what has been said. So, maintenance activities, supporting the interpersonal relationship. So, we find like communication and feedback is one of the and sharing of information, all these are very important task activities of a team to become an effective team. Maintenance activities includes motivating and encouraging others to participation of others, trying to harmonize the difference of opinion and reducing the dysfunction and conflict and encouraging the functional conflict. So, praising the contribution of others and like trying to follow the norms and going with the popular, go along with the popular course of action. So, these are some of the maintenance activities for the team. What are the disruptive behaviors and how it should be avoided is also helps in maintaining an effective team. So, overly aggressive towards other members and withdrawing and not trying to be cooperative with each other. So, wasting time and moving here and there when work needs to be done. So, and working the group, taking the group as a place for self-confession and talking too much about irrelevant, unrelated issues and trying to compete for attention. All these factors, it reduces the essence of a team, in the sense like collectiveness comes down, and what comes to focus is the individuality. So, these are some of the disruptive behaviors and which should be avoided by the group members. So, in creating another effective team, one important factor is we have to take care of the team dynamics, and one of that team dynamics is of course the roles and role dynamics. The roles are as we have already discussed in our previous classes, roles are set of expectations associated with the job or position of a team, and performance problems occurs when the roles are very unclear or conflicting. So, role ambiguity, role overload, these are the factors which should be taken care of, role underload, role conflict. So, issues regarding this have to be dealt with very seriously if we are talking of dealing with an effective team. Next important factor is of course like the norms of the team, which is one of the important factor while we are talking of building effective teams. Norms are beliefs about how team members are expected to behave, and they are the standards they are the rules or the standards of conduct. So, what norms do is they clarify the role expectations, what members are expected to do. So, helps members to structure their behavior accordingly to the expectations and help members to get a common sense of direction and helps to reinforce a team culture. So, norms can be regarding various areas. One of the most important norms is of course the performance norms. and organizational and personal pride norms, what are the high achievement norms, support and helpfulness norms, improvement and change norms. So, what we can find over here regarding all the aspects of team behavior, there are certain set standards for a particular team which they follow, so that glue develops, the bonding force develops between the team members, and that they can function as a unit. So, team cohesiveness is one thing which develops when the people are closely following the norms as directed by the groups. So, team cohesiveness is the degree to which the members are attached to and are motivated to remain as a part of the team. So, rule of conformity in the group dynamics is that more cohesive the team, the better the members are, better are their conformity to the group norms. So, positive performance norms in a highly cohesive group have a positive effect on the task performance, but like negative performance norms in a highly cohesive groups have a negative effect on task performance, and these may go against the organization's purpose. So, and if that is such, like due to a particular group has set some negative performance norms which is going against the organization's purpose, main purpose, and it is reducing the task performance, then what can be done to increase or decrease that cohesiveness is by changing the group goals, changing the group's composition, members, interaction levels and group size, and creating competition within and between teams, changing the reward system, changing the duration for what the team is formed, changing the location of the team members. These are some of the efforts that can be taken to either reduce or increase the cohesiveness, because cohesiveness, as we can find, has an important effect on the task performance of the team. If and the norm set by the team itself for their performance can affect their task performance if there is a very high cohesive group. If it is positive, then it is fine, but if it is negative, then maybe you have to use certain of these measures to somehow reduce this cohesiveness and arrange for a new setup in where like these negative performance norms are not there, or that norm is not there, or cohesiveness is low. As a result, like the task performance increases. So, decision making in teams. So, what happens is information is distributed unequally among the team members, and it has to be integrated, collated at a together. It should deal with the ambiguity and compressed amount of time and status differences. So, it is not that all the important information have percolated to all the individuals, could be it is not so in a team. So, while we are talking of decision making in teams, it has to be, all the information has to be brought in a common place. So, when we are talking of decision making in team, we have to be concerned about 2-3 different things, like what is the team's level of informity. So, how well all the team members are informed about all the issues that they must address. Next is what is the staff validity, means what is the overall ability of the team to make accurate decisions and this dyadic sensitivity means how much weightage the leader gives to the feedback or the input given by the team members, and how much the weightage the leader gives to which members viewpoints. So, is it like here the leader takes into consideration all the viewpoints given by all the members, or based on their competencies and the ability of decision making in the team, the leader knows like whose views I should be given more importance to while deciding and about a particular issue, and who, like, what is the priority setting for it. So, why another important thing for creating effective team is selecting the proper personnel for the team. And we find like while a new member is tried to be brought into the group, few things have to be taken care of, like we have to gain the group's acceptance for bringing in a new member. So, increasing the group solidarity and taking care of the group consciousness, like what is the group generally thinking about the new member and the need for bringing in a new member. So, share the identification of the group with the new member and manage the other members' impression about the new member. So, these are 5 critical social skills that a new member should be possessing, and once in a group, like should try to learn from the group situation, like getting the acceptance of the members slowly, increasing the solidarity and what is the general feeling of the group, learn the group's ways of doing things and managing other people's impressions. So, leaders should also take care of these things, and the member also should be taking care of all these factors. And when these matches, so the person slowly assimilating and trying to learn the group's ways, and the existing members also accepting the new member, then we can go for we can create an effective team. So, group demography is what it leads to, like diversity. Whether you are going for a diverse team, then group demography is one of the factors, like whether you share things in common like age, gender, race, education level or length of service, or there is a mix and match, because these have an impact on the team's performance. And cohorts are group members, individuals who as a part of the group hold a common attribute. So, the degree of these things being present whether will determine how much diverse the group is or not. So, some of the challenges faced by the, as already discussed, like who is an important, like personnel selection and processes, like both the person has to accept the group and the group also has to accept, the existing members have also to accept the new person. So, what are the major barriers that an individual has to overcome, so that an individual turns himself or herself into team player, is like overcoming individuals' resistance to team membership. So, due to the cultural makeup or personal values and other things, a person may or may not be able to accept the team membership, but that barrier has to be overcome. Cultural differences could be there, like if some person is coming from an individualistic culture, then reward system, recognition, all these things vary in an individualistic culture or the collective culture. So, those barriers have to be overcome. So again, if an organization is individualistically based and trying to introduce team based performance in that organization could be a problem, and these could be barriers also, as rewards are connected individually, recognition, promotions, everything are based on individually oriented. So, introducing teams in those organizations could be problems, and those problems have to be overcome. So, shaping team players could be, of course, selection is one of the ways, because some people can perform their team roles based on their competencies. Then training has to be given to them to come out of some of their mental barriers and start sharing with others, trusting others. So, those training has to be there. Reward system in the organization has to be reworked. So, what happens, we try to keep a balance between both cooperative efforts taken by all the members together, and also to recognize some of the individual efforts, so that there is a balance and there is no ways like what we discussed in group as social loafing, which generally happens in groups. Like people, if its only reward is based on group based performance, then some people may hide behind that and think like, okay, others are there to perform, so why not I just enjoy the time, because at the end of the day, even if I perform or not, the reward is based on group based performance and I am going to get my share of it. So, there should be a balance between the group based incentive and also the individual contribution made towards reaching that objective. So, team effectiveness and quality management requires that teams are very small in size, so that they are effective and efficient, they are properly trained, so are given enough time so that they can work on problems. So, they are given authority to resolve their problems and take corrective actions, and some help is there, some expert is there whom they can call on while they are in need to get some opinion and help, some direction. So, these things are going to increase the quality of the team performance. So, some of the characteristics of high performance teams are like high degree of mutual trust, high core values, and values like honesty, loyalty, truthfulness, or openness is there. So, and now next is there is a general sense of purpose, and then that is divided into specific performance objectives for different individuals. Then people are committed to that specific purpose, and that is being translated into individually defined goals and goal interdependence, and linking individual goals to the group goals. So, having the right mix of skills and abilities and technical expertise and knowledge of one and the other are complementary. So, if there is a system of giving effective feedback and there is a way of resolving conflicts and other interpersonal issues, these leads to defining a high character performance team. So, next is the capacity to tap external resources for information, and they possess creativity, that is one of the important factors of team, and social support is there, better teamwork is there, trust is there, workload sharing is there, sharing of information is there, and proper sense of coordination is there. So, people have a knowledge of what are the challenges in a particular job, how do who are the colleagues, and like what we can share with each other, what we can learn from each other, and what is the work environment that that we have to, like where we are going to perform. So what are the diversity in the composition of the group and how it leads to the team performance. Then what is the reward, whether there is a mix of group and individual rewards, and mainly the size factor, it should not exceed more than 12. If it is that, then it's very challenging to maintain the cohesiveness of the team and sharing and see that the information is reaching at every point or not. So these factors are very important. Principles of effective teamwork is that members should provide and accept feedback, and feedback should be very constructive, and it has to be flow up and down as well. So members should be ready to and prepared to back up for each other. So they should be voluntarily knowing how to and when to jump in and help. So they should view themselves in a collective way. So members are interdependent. So there is a team leadership is very important. They should trust each other, rely on each other, and to carry out a mission. So and leaders, they lead by examples, and they perform and become a motivator for the team members, and they just don't instruct, but they serve as a role models for the members. Some of the important points are like thought process should be very clear regarding what is the group's target, what team's target, what we have to do, what we have to achieve, and it has to be spelled out in clear specific terms regarding what needs to be done, what is the composition of the team, what is the appropriate norm. So team's authority should guide what we have to do, but it is not deciding how we have to do, how is the creative part of it, and the members have to decide on it, like how to reach that target. So there is a clear instruction given, but again some care should be taken about the motivational implication of such actions also. So intrinsically the work should be exciting from inside, intrinsically motivated, and it leads to the self development of the potential self development of the members. So that enjoying the challenge given from inside, that excitement should be there, and that should be coupled with other members present and their ways of sharing with each other. Supporting organizational climate is required. So selection of proper team members. So mapping of group and individual incentive is also there, and providing training is very much necessary, and expert coaching. So a team effectiveness model in a nutshell leads to depends on the context, the composition of the team, the design of the work itself, and the processes in how it is done. So if the work itself doesn't require team activity, putting that activity in a team is not going to serve the purpose. So the context, composition of the members, the work design itself, and the processes, how it's done, all leads to a team effectiveness. And if this is done, it may lead to an innovation in the sense. So focus on clear objectives, interaction between the team members, and in a non-threatening climate, commitment to high standards of performance, and giving support for innovation may lead to innovation in the organization through a proper teamwork. Some of the following questions are like: define teams, state the difference between work group and team. So what are the reasons for popularity of teams? What we have learnt in details about the team building, what is team building, what are the steps of team building, how do you build high performance teams, how do you create effective teams, and Which of the above steps that you have learned in creating effective team is most important and why? So, what is teamwork? Discuss it in the light of a model of team effectiveness, and justify the relationship between team working and innovation in organization. So, thank you, and I hope like this session on team and how is an effective team formed, what is the process of team building, this knowledge will help us to work in teams properly, develop teams so that it leads to both individual satisfaction, individual development within the while performing in the team, and it will this self-developed individual knowing how to cooperate with each other so that a team's objective is reached, which in turn will again help to reach the organization's objective. If the team is if the purpose of the team, the goal of the team is well aligned, if we try to align it with the organization's purpose, main purpose, then team can work wonders for organization's performance. But if it is not aligned, the team's goal is something different from what the organization's goal is, then it may create barriers for the organization's performance. So, we have to be very careful about the team and how it is formed, what is an effective team, and proper team building only helps in today's organization's context, today's job context, to get better performance for the organization. Thank you.